so I don't always watch silent films, but whenever I do, it is not that often. So actually, funny story. I remember one day I woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning, something like that. I guess early in the morning. And sometimes whenever I wake up, I'll go on Instagram and like scroll up on my feed and stuff. And I remember seeing a movie that somebody had posted, and I seen the cover for it, and it was Haxan. It was the Criterion Blu-ray, and I remember seeing the cover, and I was like, dang, that looks interesting. And I had no idea what it was at the time. I just thought it was like a really messed up movie. This was a little bit ago. Um, so I looked it up and I figured out that it was a silent film. And I looked at some of the footage and I seen the atmosphere and I was like, dang, I really like that. I really want to check that out. And it was in my cart for a while and I never ended up getting it. Finally, I ended up buying it with a bunch of other Criterions. And it's really weird to talk about a silent film because I don't know enough about silent films to judge them. Because this is my first one, so I'll do the best that I can in terms of talking about silent films. Because I don't really, that's not really the kind of filmmaking I'm in or the filmmaking that I do. So it's kind of, but it would be cool to see a silent film. I'm pretty sure somebody's done it, but it's I don't know. It's something. It's really weird, and it was something that I didn't expect while watching it. I had seen silent films before, kind of like in Red Dead Redemption, I guess how it was, and just from other places. And I know they released the Frankenstein short or whatever. It was the 1910, I think. It was like from Thomas Edison Productions or something. I probably said that wrong, but yeah, silent films are not my thing. But let's go ahead and talk about Haxan. So Haxan came out in 1922. My great grandmother was like 6, I think, whenever this movie came out. She's not alive now, but yeah, that's a long time. And it was directed by Benjamin Christian, I believe. Now that is a director I don't really know much about. I remember listening to a review and hearing about this stuff, and I think he actually played the devil in this film. Uh, this film isn't exactly what it's kind of promoted as in a way. It's oddly enough, I feel kind of weird saying this, but it's almost like lighthearted in a way. I know that's really crazy to say because it's about witchcraft. The film is about witchcraft, and it's split up into 7 different parts. And that kind of benefits the film and it kind of doesn't at the same time. Because I remember whenever I got to the 5th part, I was like, okay, I got to sit through 2 more of these, which wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't just because it was a silent film. That was not the reason why I was getting kind of bored and sluggish while watching it. It was just kind of because there wasn't really much going on in terms of like a situation. Like it would be very confusing if you didn't have the title cards, and at times it was. The first part of it is kind of like it's kind of like a almost a history lesson in like witchcraft, and there's somebody like with a wooden pencil kind of pointing at stuff, kind of letting you know what's going on, and that's pretty cool. I mean, I really did. I thought that was actually really cool. It was definitely really different, kind of documentary style in a way, and then you start to go to the actual story, and that's interesting. One of the things that I commend this film is its atmosphere. The atmosphere in this film, just the overall feel, the look of it is absolutely fantastic, especially whenever you get to the nighttime forest scenes or whatever. Those are absolutely beautiful. I don't like saying whatever in reviews, but I don't really know how to explain it that well because there's a bunch of different things about this film that I found out, and one of the scenes is with the witches and they're flying around in circles, and they actually built a town and put it on like a turntable, and they actually spun the turntable and then they overlaid it, I guess, with the witches on the brooms and stuff. And that's actually really cool. That's really clever. That's what they had back in 1922. And if you could find like a really in-depth review or a documentary about this film, definitely watch it because there's a lot of stuff about this film. There's a lot of fun facts. I think this was actually supposed to be movie 1 out of 3, I believe. I think. Or I could get that confused with another film. I have no idea. But I think this was the first of 3 films, and I think they actually had to turn it into one film because of I'm not sure if it was the box office or controversy. I think that's what I heard. If I could find the review for it, I might put it in the link down in the description. I'm not sure if I can find it now, but because I listened to it a little bit ago, even before I bought the film. But there are probably some pretty interesting stuff you should look up about this film. One of the things that I really did like about this film too is kind of the story itself. It's not a complicated tale about witchcraft. It's really not. It is a straightforward, very simplistic view on the subject matter. And if something like that is your thing, and you want to watch something like this, if it's your thing and you know a lot about it, you're probably not going to learn anything from this. But if you want the basic gist of kind of what went on back in the day, this film is perfect. I mean, they don't get into too much stuff that kind of twists your brain around to where you can't understand it. It's very simplistic. It's very neat. And I could really appreciate that. Like I said, with the visuals and the simplistic story, the runtime's not so bad. I think the runtime is an hour and 40 something minutes, an hour and 50 something. I think when I looked it up on Google, it was like 2 hours. I don't know if they kind of were able to trim it down for the Criterion release or not. But the one issue that I did have with this film, and it's actually kind of a really big issue in terms of watching it, it was the subtitles. Now, for the transfer itself, yeah, I can understand the being authentic with it, the authenticity of it, but at the same time, I kind of wish that there was a transfer and a version where they took the subtitles that were in, I think, Sweden. I think it is Swedish. I looked at the back of the Blu-ray case. I do that a lot sometimes. I would have preferred if they would have made a version with English subtitles, because the reason being is because I had to reading subtitles for subtitles on the screen. They go fast in terms of just being able to look up and read the whole thing. The subtitles will sometimes have to switch over to a new line and a new sentence, and I did find myself having to rewind the movie a few times to try to keep up, and that does ruin the pacing of a film, unfortunately. So I wish there was a transfer or a version where the subtitles were English, so I didn't have to have subtitles on subtitles, because that does kind of throw me off. But at least I didn't have subtitles, on the actual film itself, because it's a silent film. But I would recommend watching Haxan. For a silent film, I think it's pretty interesting. I think it would be a lot of fun to, just sit back and relax and kind of learn, something new. I don't think witchcraft is something a lot of people look up all the time, or maybe it is. I don't know. I have known about it, and in film and other subject matter. But Haxan gives you kind of a very old style view of witchcraft, and I think that's really cool. So if that's something that you're into, definitely check out Haxan. I thought Haxan was a great film. Final score 8 out of 10. It was awesome. Silent Hill. Silent films aren't really my thing, so couldn't really give it higher. But if silent films are your thing, you probably might like it a lot more than I did. But definitely check out Haxan. I think it's definitely worth the watch, and I think it's definitely worth the money for the Criterion too. It's something new. It's something different. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. And I just want to thank everybody that's checked out the Run Around to Hell I Come. You guys are kick-ass. And if you guys want to check out your copy, check the link below. And if you want to follow me on my Instagram, you can also check that as well. That's where I post like all my movie stuff, gaming stuff, filmmaking, and writing stuff. So if you guys want to follow me on there, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Hope you had a great day.